starting in Shavasana. So lying down on the floor, just make yourself comfortable. Very easy one again this morning. It's our gentle start to the week. So usually a bit more experiential and a bit more, well, I don't know if thought-provoking is a bit strong, but that sort of idea. I'm bringing myself down to the floor here so you can see better. Okay, so we're in Shavasana and we've arrived here on our mats on a Monday morning again. So I titled, the whole of this week is themed expectations, and I entitled this one, What Do You Expect? So having sort of looked into this as a yogic thought that expectations aren't always good things, which I can see where they're coming from, but what do you expect to find here on your mat on a Monday morning? So we all arrive with expectations, and they come normally from what we know we've found here before. So we're hoping that's why we come back to the mat, because we know how beneficial it is and how good it makes us feel. But the idea behind some of the expectations is that expectations can only sometimes bring failure or the sense of failure. So let's look at it from the point of view of, rather than an expectation here this morning, let's think of it as an intention, a sankalpa, for those of you that come to Yoga Nidra. So just think to yourself, find a word this morning that you've found here before on the mat that you feel really benefits you, a word expressing something that you find on your mat when you come to it. And think of that word as something you want to find again this morning. So it might be energy, it might be relaxation, it might be peace, calmness, it might be well, anything actually that you've found on the mat. Remember, it is a gentle yoga session, so you're not going to find high energy or dynamism here, but have a think, find that word of what you would like to find this morning here. And then when you've got that word in your head, just one word, take 3 breaths now, controlling your breath. And as you inhale, say the word to yourself each time. So inhale nice and long and smooth to your count of 4 roughly, and exhale the same length. And as you inhale, say that word positively to yourself. And then take 3 more breaths and say the word as you exhale to yourself. So don't rush it, take your time, make the breath nice and slow and even. Just using your breath to bring that intention to light. And then after your 3rd exhale, bring your hands to your belly, both hands on your belly, and then take 2 more breaths and say the word on whichever inhale or exhale, whichever felt better for you. So take 2 breaths and say the word 2 more times, hands on belly. Drawing the word inwards through that point. And then when you've done that twice, move your hands up to over your heart area, your Anahata chakra, over your heart area, and say the word twice more and 2 more breaths, either on the inhale or the exhale, whichever you prefer. And then when you've finished your 2nd breath, take your hand up, either just the palm of one hand or both hands, onto your 3rd eye chakra. So that spot just on your forehead, just above your eyebrows, center of the forehead, just either one hand or both hands there. And then find your breath again and take 2 more breaths and say that word once more or twice more. on your inhale or exhale. And then let go of the breath. Take your hands back down by your side. So the idea here is that we've made an intention rather than an expectation. We've planted a little seed that that's what we're hoping and willing ourselves to find here this morning at practice. Okay, so we're going to start to move now. So still lying on our backs, we're not moving very far off it. In fact, we're not moving off your back today. So you're lying on your back, we're going to take a right side body stretch. So stretching through your middle fingers, taking your arm above your head, as close to the floor as you feel comfortable, and reaching through the heel of the right foot as well. So really feeling that length, expanding between your right ribs and your right pelvis. Really feeling moving out from center like we did last week. And then let everything draw back towards that center point. And then draw your right leg in, you bend your knee and draw your right leg in towards your chest. Catch your back of your thigh or the front of your shins. And just have a little squeeze as you exhale, drawing your knee towards your chest. And release on the inhale. Take 2 more squeezes, exhaling them in. Inhaling gently, releasing your knee away slightly. And then in the next breath, on your inhale, tuck your chin. Inhale and then exhale, lifting up and drawing your knee towards your nose this time into half hedgehog. And releasing gently back down to the floor. So drawing up 2 more times. Just take it easy, don't force anything this morning. Just make it a gentle roll. If you don't go very far, don't worry. If you want to keep your head to the floor, don't worry. Just think of contracting the right side front body. And then release the foot to the floor, stretch that leg away from you. Just notice before we move to the other side, any differences through maybe your hips, or maybe your abdominal area, maybe that space at your waist that you've made on the right side. So we're moving now to the left side. So take your full left side body stretch, first of all. Again, not reaching too far and forcing it, but just feeling that expanding from the spot between your ribs and your pelvis on your left side, moving down and upwards. And then release and bring your left knee in towards your chest into half Apanasana again on that side. Hands behind thighs or on shins, wherever you're comfortable. Inhale, and as you exhale, draw your thigh gently towards your tummy. Inhale, release it slightly away, still holding onto the leg. Exhale, draw the leg gently towards you again. Feel that nice big stretch around the back of your hips and glutes and hamstring, the top of it. One more time, nice little squeeze. And then keeping a hold of your leg, we're going to go into half hedgehog on this side. So when you're ready, tuck your chin, engage your tummy muscles, roll up. Find your knee, nose feeling coming together, and then let your body come back down. So your knees just releasing very slightly there. 2 more, curling up into half Apanasana on the left side. Feel that contraction in the front of your body. And then the release as you open back up again. After your second one, the third one rather, pop your foot to the floor, stretch the leg away from you. Notice how both sides feel a little bit more balanced now. Okay, so then if you're comfortable, take your hands above your head, take a full body stretch. So through both heels, hands above head, reaching through your middle fingers, but find those spots either side of your waist. And just think of moving outwards from there rather than squeezing and reaching and forcing through finger or foot. And then draw everything back in, both knees then to the chest, one at a time. So whichever one first, then the second one up. Catch a hold of the back of the legs or the front of the shins. Take 3 little squeezes with both legs, just gently releasing in between. Really nice for the digestive system, this one always. Quite nice to waken it up in the morning this way as well. And after the third one, we're going to take a hedgehog roll. So tuck the chin, tuck the belly, and then start to roll up and bringing your nose up towards your knees. And then release just the back, just lowering the back to the floor. The knees stay up and bent. Inhale up. Exhale, release. One more, inhale up. Remember to tuck the chin to support the weight of your head as you come up. And keep it tucked as you roll back down. Your skull is the last thing to touch the floor. And then pop the feet to the floor, stretch the feet away from you. Okay, so then we're bringing our feet back in on the floor this time, and we're going to take bridge. So bring your heels in as close to your bottom as you can. Feet are still hip distance apart and they're facing forward. Spine's flat on the floor here. Find your pelvic tilt first of all. So switch on those spots on your pelvic bones and your pubic bone and draw them gently up towards your tummy on an exhale. So just a tiny tilt there, just to connect with that lower half of your body. Okay, so then let go of the breath, and when we take the next inhale, we're going to press gently into the feet, and we're going to lift up through the knees. The knees are moving forward towards the wall ahead of you. You're lifting up and gently squeezing your glutes, not too big the first time. We're taking 3 of these rolls. So then exhaling your way back down. If you're off the breath, don't worry, just enjoy the roll up, roll down feeling. Tailbone touches last. Find the inhale again, inhale up. Doing that nice opening along your quads into your hip flexors, up across your abdominal area, across your chest, up to your shoulders. And then gently rolling back down, vertebrae by vertebrae, touching the floor one at a time, it feels, until your tailbone touches last. One more roll. You might go a little bit further this time, you might not. Let your body decide how far it wants to go. Have a little squeeze of the glutes at the top. And then gently roll back down. And take a second on the floor while I just check where I am, and then stretch your legs away from you. Now we're going to take Pranayama on the right hand side. So arms above the head, elbows can be bent. Just see if you can find the floor with your forearms and the back of your palms. And then you're going to walk your feet to the right, just your feet moving over to the right. Your hips stay put, they don't move. And then you're going to take your shoulders over to the right as well, so you come into a nice curvy shape. If you want to, you can take your right wrist in your left hand, but don't force it again. Just enjoy that space that you've made now from the left center point, from that spot between ribs and pelvis. Feel the movement moving out in the curve, downwards towards your left heel, upwards towards your right armpit, and maybe even further up to the right side of your neck. And don't forget to breathe, obviously. And then walk back to center. Both hands and shoulders and feet rather. Bring your right leg in towards you again, fold your knee up. Take your left hand and just pop it on the outside of your right thigh. Take your right hand out just to stabilize yourself. And you're just going to gently draw that right knee across your body, allowing yourself to roll slightly up and onto your left hip. So rolling over onto the outside edge of the left foot a bit, not coming right over, but just allowing a little bit of an extension through the right hip and down the right thigh. And take 3 breaths here. So you might want to turn your head as well and look towards the right hand. We haven't gone fully over, kind of dangling feeling, but take your breath, find your breath. Inhale, exhale, 3 breaths. And then let your hips roll back over. So your shoulders should really have been on the floor there. We're not going right over into a twist. When you come back over, take your right hand under the outside of your right thigh and just allow that right thigh to unfold and open. So you find an inner thigh stretch, but support it with your right hand. So you're just opening out the inner thigh. Legs still bent, other legs just kind of counterbalancing you. Take a couple of breaths here, inhaling, exhaling. So feel the weight pour down into your hand and into your elbow and to your upper arm, which should be on the floor supporting you. And after your second breath, just guide that leg back up to center, stretch it away from you. Maybe you want a leg stretch there, gently moving out through the heel on the right side, opening up the hip flexor. And then we're taking it to the other side. So we're walking our feet over to the left, just as far as is comfortable. You can cross your ankles if you want to, but that's a little bit stronger, so you decide. And then walk your shoulders over towards the left as well into that curly smiley face shape. And then take your arms above your head, elbows bent, hands right hand clasping your left wrist if you want. But just think of that center point around your waist on the right hand side and try to move from there. Try to expand from there rather than dragging up from the either ends of you. So think of expanding out the way, finding that space at your waist. And then walk back to center when you're ready, one part of you at a time. Draw your left leg in this time into half Apanasana feeling again, and then take your right hand over to the outside of your left thigh. Same thing, we're keeping shoulders on the floor, hips are coming off, or your left hip will come off as you roll your knee across your body and come up onto the side of your right hip and onto the edge of your right foot. But your shoulders, we don't want them off the floor. We don't want to go right over onto a twist. Just taking the bottom half across your long leg. Find your breath again. Take a couple of breaths here, nice and slow, nice and even. Maybe turn the head if you want to look towards the other side. And then let that leg come back up, maybe help it up if it needs to. Take your left arm now and let the leg come towards it. So we're taking the weight into your left hand and arm. Your upper arm's on the floor and your left leg's just folded out and opening up through the inner thigh. You should feel a sort of sensation there. Try and let it go as much as you can into your hand. Use the breath to try and let it go. So feel it heavy into your hand, which will let your thighs open a little bit more and find some space there in your inner thigh. Notice what's trying to hold on, though, possibly your tummy muscles. Okay, so then draw that leg back up to center, stretch the leg away from you. Have a stretch through your heel again if you want to. And then we're coming back into bridge, and the choice here is to do it with or without arms this time. So bring your heels back towards your bottom. Still feet hip distance apart. And then if you're ready and you want to do your arms as well, first of all, just practice with your pelvic tilt. So that would be on an exhale, just a little exhale, practice finding that connection to your lower half and to rocking, that rocking sensation. And then on your next inhale, press gently into the feet, start to roll up. And if you're going with it, take your hands up as well at the same time so that they come up and over your head. You're opening up the whole of the front body here, just squeezing the glutes gently just to support yourself at the top. And then you're exhaling and you're starting to move down with your hands as well at the same time if you're coming with them. Same thing, we want the vertebrae to stack slowly down to the floor one at a time. Take two more, so gently pressing into the feet, have a wiggle of the toes, make sure it's your feet you're pressing into and not into your toes. They should be able to be lifted. When you get to the top, find the breath first on the exhale, and then after the exhale starts, you start to roll back down. So take it in your own time. If I'm going at the wrong speed, make sure you do it at your speed, not mine. One more roll up, roll down when you're ready in your own time. Maybe squeezing the glutes a little bit more this time, just to find that openness through the front of the body and the lower abdomen. And then gently rolling back down. And then we're going to roll on to our right side. We'll go first. So rolling over onto your right side and bending your legs and coming into the sort of seated chair position. If you want a cushion here, you can put a cushion under your head or your block, depending on how your neck feels. So you might want something just to lift your head up a little bit here. We're going to take Robin Hood arms here. So we're going to just draw when you're ready, both arms are out in front of you at shoulder height, your knees are bent in front of you, your knees are stacked, your ankles are stacked, your hips are stacked. So just check you're not rolling forward or back there. Just check you've got that feeling of one hip on top of the other. And then we're going to draw the top arm, draw it right across the other arm. So trace the fingers up that arm as you then start to roll back onto your left shoulder and open up your left arm backwards. Might not reach the floor, just stretch it out as far as you're comfortable. And then take a big semicircle with that hand. So lift it up, engage your shoulder obviously, and draw it back to the front again. So take one more of those. So draw the fingers across the chest, drawing that bow and arrow feeling. And then as it comes to the other side of your chest, open out the elbow, open out the arm, gently opening out that armpit on the left side. Engage your shoulder muscles and then lift up. Draw the arm up in a big semicircle. This time we're going to stay over if you're comfortable. If not, you can come back. So draw back that arrow, or the bow rather, come to the point that you want to then open up your elbow, take the back of your hand then down towards the floor. If you can't quite reach the floor, shuffle your right shoulder over slightly and see if that allows you to twist and allows your arm to come down towards the floor. If it doesn't quite, don't worry if your knees slightly separate and that stacked feeling's not quite still there. Just try and find the floor gently with your back of your left hand and your shoulder. And then maybe turn your head to look towards them if you're comfortable. And then find your breath and take 3 breaths here. Finding that space across the front of your chest to breathe into. Particularly your left side of your chest, you can find space there in this position. So inhale, exhale. Maybe you can feel your body soften a little bit more on each exhale. And then before you move again, you may want to fold your elbow in this time, or you can lift up the arm and bring it back across to stack on top of the other one. Then we're going to roll onto our backs again. When you're ready, take your time, no rush. Roll onto your back when you're ready. Bring your knees bent, feet to the floor as if you were going to go into bridge again, but a little bit further away from your bottom this time. And then you're going to lift up your left leg, your knee coming towards chest. Flex the foot, take a hold of the lower leg and bring that leg across so you come into your figure of 4 shape with your soft tissue, not your bone against bone, remember. So just above your thigh and just above your ankle. Keep that foot flexed so that the knee doesn't torque. Okay, so choice with arms here is to put your hands behind your head just, which is an easier option or less strong option, or to take your left arm straight above you, stretching out through your middle finger, and then take your right hand and fold your elbow and grab a hold of just the upper part of your forearm on your left side. So just before your elbow and your left arm, you've caught with your right hand. So again, a kind of figure of 4 shape. If your shoulders and hands are too much off the floor and it's putting a lot of pressure through your shoulders, do take your hands just behind your head. And then find your breath and take 3 breaths here. And as you breathe, try and think of moving that left knee slightly away from you in the inhale. And then exhale. Try and draw your shoulders this time down away from your ears as you inhale, contracting that upper part of your back. And then exhale. And then have one more inhale, exhale here. And then release one part at a time, unfold. We're going to take that on the other side now. So we're going to roll over onto the left side into that chair position. I'll just change sides so I'll be showing my back to you. Okay, so come in again, grab the cushion or something if you need it under your head. Find this stacked position with the legs, so hips, knees, ankles feel stacked. Feet can be flexed here if you want a little bit more connection. And then take the right arm, across, draw it up across your arm, up across your upper chest. When you get to the far side, your elbow's really bent there, so we want to open up that arm, then take the back of the hand backwards. Might not reach the floor, might be nowhere near it, doesn't matter. Engage the shoulder, lift that arm up in a big semicircle, bring it back to the front again. Take one more in your own time of that. So really think about taking it on the breath, maybe if you can this time. Inhaling across, exhaling at no opening. Inhaling, engage the shoulder muscles, lifting up. Come back to the front, exhale. So this one we're going to hold if you want to, otherwise you can come back to the front. So we're inhaling across the chest. We're exhaling the arm open and we're staying here. Remember, you can move slightly in your shoulders if you want to try and find the floor a bit closer to your shoulder and your extended arm. If your knees start to separate or that stacking feeling goes, just let it happen. Let the twist happen. And then maybe turn your head towards the faraway hand and take 3 breaths here again. Noticing as you inhale, what's expanding? Maybe your armpits, maybe it's your hips you feel it in, maybe around your waist. Finding that right side body to breathe into. And then on your next inhale, engage your shoulder muscles, everybody, lift up. Draw the arm slowly back towards the hand. Rest there, take an exhale. And then roll onto your back. We're going to take the figure of 4 again on your back. So this time it's the right leg that's bending up and flexing and turning and coming into a figure of 4 shape. Soft tissue, remember. And we're extending the right arm this time up above our head and catching it with the left hand just below the elbow on the forearm, or hands up behind the head, whichever is more comfortable. So keep the foot flexed, keep trying to move that the right knee, down and away from you. And then find your breath, take 3 breaths here. Finding what you need to focus on to exhale and try and release a little bit. And then after your 3rd breath, release the hands, release the feet. Choice here, either into Shavasana, if you want to just go back into Shavasana, or take your feet into Supta Baddha Konasana. So that's when we turn the soles of our feet together, bring the feet together, legs are bent. So your legs are folding out like we did earlier on. So you're getting that inner thigh stretch. So if that's quite strong, you can put bricks under your legs, or you can bring your knees together and take your feet out the way if you want to make another alternative to that one. Hands can be behind your head, can be in your belly, or can be in goalpost. And then just find your breath again. Just watch your breath now. Let go of the breath and just watch it for a second. Do you notice any change in it? Changes in your breath often reflect changes in you. So hopefully you can find that your breath's maybe a little bit slower or deeper or smoother than it was when we came to the mat. So go back to your intention word that we had at the beginning. Do you feel this practice has given you what you intended or expected, perhaps? Maybe not. But the thing is, it may also have given you something better, or it may not yet be obvious to you what this practice has given you. So what you expect isn't always fulfilled, but sometimes something better comes from it. And there's a little saying that goes, peace begins when expectation ends. So choice now to either stay in Shavasana as we close here and continue with your own Shavasana and enjoy some space to yourself, or slowly bring your knees together. If you're in Supine Konasana, take your time to move up, back up to seated, into cross-legged again. Oh, we didn't even start on that, did we? Back to cross-legged. We haven't even been there this morning. Come into cross-legged, just to finish our practice. So expectation is only a word, and whether you see that word as a problem or as actually something positive, it depends on the way you're looking at things. As far as the mat goes, as far as our yoga practice goes, you expect to get a lot from it, and basically I think you always do. It may not always be what you think you're going to get, so that is the difference possibly. So hopefully everybody feels fulfilled in some way or another with that half hour this morning. Thank you everybody for your practice, and looking forward to a week ahead. Namaste.